Greetings, YouTube. A friend within the Temple of the Adversarial Forge came to me asking for advice in regard to losing weight. Now, I have to be honest, I really don't feel comfortable answering this question. Mainly because I like to lead by example, and I myself am not in peak physical condition right now. Now, with that being said, though, I do have certification through ISSA as a personal trainer. But I can't really answer the question from that lens as a professional, because I'm not there to measure your arms, legs, waist, chest. I'm not there to do the body composition tests. I'm not there to take note of your dietary habits. There's a lot of different variables that go into helping a client as a personal trainer that I just simply cannot go over and go into through video correspondence. Therefore, I'm not going to answer the question through that lens. I am going to give you some key concepts, though, that are going to help you, both as an occultist and as one who is seeking to improve your physique. First things first, diet. Three times a day isn't enough. And I don't care what you're eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Even if you're eating whole foods, your body is only going to assimilate and process so much at any one point in time. Eating every 5 or 6 hours is just not going to cut it. If you want to lose weight, you have to speed up your metabolism. And the best way to do that is to be sure that your body is getting a steady stream of nutrients throughout the day in amounts that it can assimilate and use. You want to eat every 2.5, 3 hours like clockwork. Food sources should be alive and well. I'm talking about fresh fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, beans, legumes. For a couple reasons. Number one, you're taking in prana, you're taking in life force energy, which is going to help fuel and nurture your own. Okay, it's gonna help you develop the subtle energy bodies. Now, I'm not saying you should not eat what I call death or animal flesh, because for me, when I eat meat, it is a sacrament or an offering to the more bestial, therionic side of self, that predatory nature that lies dormant. Now, another reason for this is this kind of food is so much easier and simpler to prepare, which opens up hours within the day to do other things. You know, there's a difference between spending an hour and a half in the kitchen preparing a meal and 5 minutes chopping up vegetables and throwing it on a plate. There's just a huge difference. I mean, that's going to open up time not just for training and exercise, but for spiritual work, spending time with your family, things of that nature. So it's a win-win situation. Adequate amounts of protein. Look, you can utilize protein powders, things of this nature. But too many people rely on them way too much. So I'm going to say not to. Most of the protein you find on the market these days is based on whey. Whey protein is very fast acting. An hour and a half after you slam that whey protein shake, it's gone. It's out of your system. You would be much better off eating whole forms of protein like tuna, chicken, whey. In regard to sports performance, is wonderful after a workout because it shuttles amino acids to the muscle cells right now. But it has no long-term sustaining effect. Whole foods, which are digested, has more of that long-term sustainable effect that we seek. On top of that, digestion in and of itself increases the metabolism by burning calories. One of my favorite sources of whole food protein is cottage cheese, because it has a good dose of fast-acting and long-acting proteins and amino acids. So diet, keep it clean, keep it alive. Okay, this is going to fuel your subtle energy bodies. It's going to increase the metabolism. Eat more frequently. Okay? Now, in regard to exercise, as a personal trainer, I could sit here and draw up a workout program and charge you $50 an hour. But when I'm thinking about long-term benefits, lifelong benefits, I'm going to recommend isometric exercises. For the same reason as clean food. Isometrics is one of the very few forms of exercise that do not expend prana or personal energy. It actually helps you to develop it and harness it and accumulate it. Now, isometrics do have a disadvantage. That disadvantage is that you are only strengthening the muscle at that point of contraction. So whatever exercise you are recreating through isometrics, whether it be a curl or a tricep extension, or I don't care what it is, you want to exercise it at the beginning of its range of motion, the middle, and the end. Okay? Now, isometrics are wonderful because, number one, they immediately start etching detail into the muscle. It's going to accentuate and bring out the muscle belly, the natural curve within the muscle group, which is beneficial not just for men, but for women as well. It's going to increase your tendon strength and make you explosively fast. You're going to see results quite quickly with isometrics, especially in regard to your strength levels. Now, If you don't believe me, do a powerlifting workout once a week. At the end of the week, do isometrics throughout the week. After 2 months, look at the amount of strength you gained utilizing isometric contractions. It's going to increase substantially. Okay. Now, isometric contractions can be combined with other forms of exercise that exercise these muscle groups throughout a full range of motion. So you can integrate weight training if you like. You can integrate calisthenics, which is what I prefer to use, just because I don't want to spend too much money on a gym or a piece of equipment. I want to be able to train myself naked, alone in a room if I want, you know. That's up to you. Now in regard to cardiovascular exercise, choose whatever form you wish. There's hundreds of different options. Now again, I'm not going to speak to you from the lens of a personal trainer and tell you how many beats per minute your heart should be beating to burn fat. I'm not going to make it that complicated. Simply do cardio and stay at the pace where you can hold a conversation or halfway sing a song at least, you know. Because if you're exerting yourself any harder than that, you're developing endurance. You're moving out of that zone where you're actually burning body fat. And you're starting to enter this realm where you're building more endurance, which would be useful as a football player or as a professional fighter or a competing fighter. But, you know, I assume that your goals are pretty much aesthetic at this point. You're concerned with how you look, so make sure you can speak. You know, if you're jogging, make sure you can hold a conversation with somebody. Skipping rope, same thing. Shadow boxing, same thing. Stay at that nice, even, steady pace where you're dipping into fat stores. Now with that being said, you know, caloric intake, all of this needs to be adjusted through experience. I really do need to know, you know, what the diet habits are like right now, but as a general rule, within the weight training community, it is said that to put on muscle mass, you need to eat between 1 and 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. With that being said, weight training is very taxing. It taxes your recovery system. It taxes the immune system. I mean, in all actuality, it does a lot of bad, counterproductive things to your body. That's why I really don't recommend it anymore. It's terrible for your joints when you're thinking about long-term benefits. And even the protein intake alone, that does terrible things to your kidneys and your liver. So what I like to do is say, you know, normally I will tell my students to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body weight. For this kind of exercise, that seems to be sufficient in regard to creating change within the body, aesthetically, you know, being able to transform yourself. But, you know, this is a number that's going to have to be played with. There's a lot of genetic factors that have to be acknowledged, because not everybody is going to respond the same to food as I do. Also, as an occult practitioner, I would always recommend stretching. Because it's not just about loosening up the body. It's not just about loosening up the limbs, and keeping the muscle groups subtle, but it's also about opening up energy blockages. The body is just a conduit of that. It's a symbol. You start loosening up the body, the energy within the body starts to move more freely, and that has benefits within life as well as within magic, our sorcerer's path. So keep that in mind. The thing is, if you're leading a sedentary lifestyle, you can start doing anything right now, and you're going to get results for about 2 or 3 months. Just because it's such a shock to the body's neurological system. Now, as your body adjusts, you're going to start hitting plateaus. However, these basics are something that can be built upon if you're utilizing isometric contractions for the purpose of strengthening the body, and you're developing your stores of prana and ki through this process, and you're eating right. As you progress and you start hitting these plateaus, you can start integrating other forms of exercise. Calisthenics, plyometrics. You can integrate weight training, and I do encourage that, because you have to find things that you enjoy doing. So with that being said, I think I'm pretty much done here. I don't want to give out too much information, because this subject is so vast. I mean, it really is. There's no cookie cutter fitness programs are about as useful as cookie cutter initiatory programs. Okay, which means they're not useful at all. You're going to have to really get in there and do it and see how it works for you. Absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is specifically your own. But isometrics, man, that's a great place to start. Eating live, whole foods as much as possible, 6 to 8 times a day, every 2 or 3 hours, like clockwork. That is of utmost importance. Making sure you're taking in the right amounts of micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals, These things all are variables in this huge totality of what we call fitness. But see, fitness is a multifaceted concept. A lot of people want to cram it into this physical realm, but the health benefits that it has on the mind and soul as well cannot be overlooked, but they normally are. So what I'm doing here is giving you a couple of things that you can build upon. Start integrating it into your practice. Experience the results for yourself. Do your own research and build upon it, okay? With that being said, I do hope this was useful for the person that asked the question. I hope it is useful for others as well. Until next time, infernal blessings. Palm Draconis signing out.